don't know. I want to, maybe travel the world a little bit and move in first before we can pop out the basketball team.
All right. Well, I'm so excited to chat with you guys today. I think everybody's mind was blown when they're like, you guys have been together for like a year and a half now. So what has married life looked like for the two of you? What's been the most surprising, the most challenging thing so far?
Married life it went from being single to being married in a very short amount of time. So the beginning, first few months, it was very much like, what does married life look like? So we just kind of kept getting to know each other, incorporate each other's lives, hung out with family and friends, traveled a lot. We do married life a little bit differently because we don't live together. So that's been interesting in its own. But yeah, just continuing to incorporate each other into one another's lives. And I think the most challenging thing was definitely not living together and we were still married, because it's like, what dynamic are we kind of setting the boundary for? But we kind of now we're in our own groove. Mm-hmm. We have our own schedule and it's working for us. Mm-hmm. So I think that would be the most challenging thing for us.
Yeah. So what's the timeline now of when you guys are planning on moving in together? Or does this dynamic work for you guys now?
Our timeline is looking around this upcoming May. We set up our leases that they would end at the same time, so that we wouldn't have to worry about breaking a lease or having to pay for two leases. So around May of next year or something like that.
Yeah, and it wasn't really just the lease situation. It was more of us, because this is such an expedited process, right? We knew that we loved each other and that we wanted to be with each other, but we still kind of want to do it on our terms, and by saying that, I just mean continuing to get to know each other. Moving in with each other is a huge step, obviously, and we're not naive to the fact that there are going to be other, I don't want to say problems, but other circumstances once we do move in with each other. So we know that's coming, but we want to be fully prepared and in a great space together with each other before we jumped into it. So it wasn't just the lease.
Yeah, the leases the whole thing was more of logistics wise.
Yeah.
But we also were looking at our relationship. Yeah. And we know that marriage is a very big step, and we also know that moving in is a big step. So the timeline is very weird and wonky for people to understand, and we're still trying to explain it, but it works for us.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're not trying to push it off by any means. We want to move in together. We just want to make sure that we're doing it right, and that we're not completely jumping into it. We just want to take a little bit of time because we jumped into marriage. So this is just a little bit of time.
It makes sense to me. I think it's the mature way to go about things. Because like you said, you're still after the show, you were still getting to know each other. I would never move in with somebody that I've just met 3 weeks ago. So it makes sense. It totally makes sense. I mean, looking back at the show, obviously there was a lot we didn't see because we're following so many different storylines. Are there conversations or moments that you wish made the cut? And anything that you wish didn't?
For me personally, I would have wished that we saw more of our relationship grow in the pods. Mm-hmm. It's kind of all of a sudden, you see me with other people, and then all of a sudden there's Matt. And Matt was always there since day one. Mm-hmm. And I know that's hard for people to understand because they don't see that. But I wish that they would have been able to see a lot of those conversations that me and him had in the pod. I actually had a great time in the pods. I look back at that time fondly. So I wish that they would have shown more of our relationship.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we had a lot of dates in the pods that kind of led up to where we were. And then even once we went on vacation and once we got back to Dallas, there was a lot kind of showing us kind of growing with each other and our love story really unfolding that a lot of viewers didn't really get to see. So I wish
he got grilled by my friends.
Yeah, there was a scene where I met her friends, and I mean, I got grilled, but it was great because it was just fun. It showed her incorporating me into her life and her friends. And it was a great scene. It was a lot of fun. I wish people got to see some of those things.
Definitely.
As opposed to just the dust ups, you know?
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I think, Colleen, at the reunion, you said you had to process all the ups and downs about the show and that there were things that you were kind of still really sad about. So what are those things, and what are those things that you had to process?
Mainly, I felt like I had to process the pool scene. Because it's happened now like a year and a half ago. So we moved on from that really quickly. I would say as soon as I told him enough at the party, I said, all right, we're not doing this anymore. We kind of put that to bed. And I haven't thought about it really until then. So watching it back now, it's bringing back all those emotions, and I am really hard on myself. So I had a lot of anxiety upsetting him, upsetting Zanab, upsetting all of the girls. I didn't want our relationship to change. I didn't want them to think differently of me. So yeah, that was mainly the thing. Watching it back, I felt like I had to process the pool scene, but that was pretty much it. In terms of like our fights and stuff and our fallouts, that also brought back some emotion, but same thing, like we're well past that. And that ended at that time. Like we haven't revisited any of those fallouts or fights or even resembling a fight like that.
Yeah, we've grown from it too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Have relationships changed since the reunion at all?
Relationships as far as
your relationship, has that relationship changed? Have your relationship with the other cast members, has that changed at all since the reunion?
No, it's been nothing but actually stronger. This entire time of watching the show and the reunion has brought us actually closer together. And it's brought me and some of the girls closer together, even though we're already super tight. The only people that know what have gone through this are these people, and we need each other's support and to lean on each other. And so since the reunion, it's just brought us closer, and especially me and him.
Yeah, and I will say this too. Since it has been a year and a half, we talked about it and we were like, listen, there's nothing that we're going to see on here when we watch it back that's going to change where we are, how we feel. If anything, it was more just me being able to be there for her due to the public reaction, and her being able to be there for me due to the public reaction. It's not easy when everybody's all of a sudden judging your life off of a very short clip of it. So being able to be there for each other really has allowed us to strengthen and grow a lot more as well.
Has that been the most difficult part post-show, is having to deal with the public criticism of your relationship, the backlash? And what misconceptions about your relationship do you want to clear up?
Yeah.
I don't think, sorry, I'm taking a second.
No.
It's not it's not hard to see what the public are saying about us because we know where we are. And it's just, some of the comments are just laughable at how wrong it is, or like way off the mark they are. It's, what's been hard is the criticism for each of us personally. Because we know each other, we know the person, and I can see the things that they're saying about him, and he can see the things that people are saying about me. And it's like, no, that's not true. Don't let that get to your head. Don't let that affect you. Don't let that change you. With us, we're like, well, we know us, but when it comes to the personal stuff, that's what that's what stings. And in terms, what's frustrating with what people do say about our relationship is that, these really harsh assumptions, that's really tricky to talk about. And it's just completely wrong. It's completely not true. And it's really sad what people are saying. But I kind of mentioned in the Cosmo article that we're just surrounding ourselves around our family and our friends who have been nothing but supportive. Not once has someone said in our lives, in our everyday lives, like, oh, should we be worried, or or listening to these comments, they've actually, just told us the same thing. Be true to ourselves. They know us. We know us. We're fine. Mm-hmm. So I would say that's the biggest thing that we would want to clear up, is that these things that people are saying are just absolutely not true.
Definitely. Matt, has it been difficult for you as well?
Yeah, it's been tough. I mean, I'd say the first day that it really started kind of getting nasty online with some of these accusations and stuff like that was tough to see. Mm-hmm. And to Colleen's point, we know who we are. It's unfortunate that the world didn't or doesn't see it as that. But to some point, it is what it is. If that's how they're going to feel, then, that's on them. We know how we are. We know who we are. And we love each other to death, and we're just continuing to do our thing. It's a tricky topic to discuss, but it hurt being accused of some of the things that people are saying.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys clearing it up. And, obviously people got a lot to say. They really do. And I know that, like you said, do you wish that you were able to address this a little bit more at the reunion? Because I know that you said that you wished you were asked about the fallout. So what were you hoping to clear up at the reunion? What were you hoping to, say that you didn't get to say?
Yeah, I definitely wish that we were asked, and I wish that we were able to talk about it, because I do think that, after we left the reunion, I was like, wait, and I saw the comments. I'm like, wait, we didn't even talk about this. Like, I wish that we would have been able to been given the time to talk about it. I think that we would have just gone through what we were, and especially Matt, I don't want to take words out of your mouth, but what you were going through at the time, because it was a pressure cooker situation. And there were so many other factors that led to our fallouts and our fights. If we would have been able to talk about it, we probably could have provided a little bit more context. And because from an audience standpoint, like, I understand where it's like, whoa, where is all this coming from? Where I wish that we would have been able to, and at some point we will say, hey, this is what was happening. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, no, you're on it. Yeah. And I'll what I wish that we could kind of clear up a little bit more at the reunion was, I think that first fight in Malibu, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it. First of all, my past with the trust issues was a big deal. We didn't really sleep a lot. We're in the sun all day. Cameras are in your face 24/7. You're expected to get married. You're not expected, but you have an opportunity to get married within 5 weeks. So you want everything to go perfect, and when something little happens, and it's not necessarily going perfect. For me at that time, it was like, okay, well, if this isn't perfect, then I'm going to run away and I'm not going to do it, and that was kind of my mindset then. Looking back on it, watching it back was tough. The way I handled it was dead wrong of me to handle it that way. I never called her names or really screamed or anything like that, or I never got like aggressive or anything like that. But watching it back, just seeing myself want to leave so quickly and just want to run away, and instead of just sitting there being calm and talking about it, I wish I could do it a little bit differently. But once again, we learned from it and we grew from it. But yeah, watching it back was tough, just wishing that I could have done it a little bit differently, if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. But let's fast forward to the wedding day. It was a beautiful ceremony, beautiful celebration. Was there ever a moment of hesitation, or did you both know going into it that you were going to say yes that day?
So it sounds crazy, but no, we really didn't. I don't know if Netflix will get mad at us, but we kind of talked that morning, and we didn't know. I mean, we knew that we loved each other, and there was tremendous potential there. But I think we really made the decision.
Yeah,
that when we saw each other,
it wasn't that we were nervous about not hurting the other, but not being with each other, because we had several conversations where we said, all right, if we get married or not, we're not gonna not be together. Like we'll still go to dinner tonight, So it wasn't about that. It was more of like, are we gonna get married? Like, are we gonna do this leap of faith? And so that's what we were always like, I don't know, like I want to say yes, but I don't know if we're there yet. We have stuff that we need to work on. We have stuff that we still need to learn about each other. And, that entire morning is exactly what, and in the bridal suite is exactly what happened. What you guys saw is me just constantly being, I don't know. And I had a few conversations with my dad that, viewers didn't get to see, that he was, just putting my mind at ease. And he's like, if you love him, then, do it. It's going to be okay. It's going to work out. What's the worst to come, that you're now married to the love of your life? You'll be okay. And so then I saw him like crying and I was like, let's just do it. And I don't regret it. Like, I really do think that if we hadn't said yes to each other, we might not have still been together. I think marriage is something that you fight for and something that means just so much to the other. There's a reason why we said yes to each other. And I'm so happy that we did say yes.
I love that. Yeah. Who's going to have the first Love is Blind baby?
I knew that was coming. I knew it was going to get brought up.
Oh, I don't know. I want to, maybe travel the world a little bit and move in first before we can pop out the basketball team.
I love it. I have to ask, that cutie scene at the end of the reunion has gotten a lot of people talking, a lot of people divided. What was your reaction when you saw it? And were you aware of, the behavior that was going on behind the scenes between Cole and Zay?
You want to take that?
It's so hard, but I saw the transition that happened from the Zanab that we met in the pods to the Zanab that we saw towards the end of the experience. She definitely became a shell of a human being. She, it started off in Malibu with the whole, him coming up to me and making those comments, whether she asked about it or not, he still said that she was a 9 out of a 10 and 2 other women were 10 out of 10s. Those comments do get to you. And if that was said to me constantly, I would definitely get in my head and I would pick apart situations that might not have been a big deal, but a big deal to her. And I do think that he is not a bad human being by any means. I don't think he's evil or anything like that. I just think that he can sometimes he's not careful with his words and his behaviors. And I think it got to her. And so when I saw the cutie scene, I don't know, my initial reaction was more of like, is Zanab okay? Because then I saw the public reaction and she's the last person that deserves this. Because people are just ruthless. And she really went through a hard time mentally and physically during this whole process. So my initial reaction was making sure that she was okay.
Is she okay now? Is she doing
yes. Yeah, she's fine. She's killing it. But I just want, we all girls, like, we're just like, oh no, like we don't want, we're not taking sides. I hate taking sides, but we just want to make sure that she's okay because she was a shell of a human being by the end of this. And now we have this public reaction saying horrible things.
Yeah. Do you know if Nancy and Bartise are talking after the reunion or is that?
I think they're friendly.
I talk to Bartise probably every other day or something like that. Well, shoot text back and forth, but I think they're friendly.
They're cordial.
They're cordial at least. As far as like a relationship being there, I think that ship has sailed. But as far as being cordial, I think yeah.
And Raven SK, you think they'll eventually walk down the aisle again?
I definitely think they're really cute. I'm so happy that they're back together. Or got together right after the wedding. They didn't break up.
They're awesome.
They're great.
Yeah, I think Alexa and Brennan will be first probably to have a baby soon.
I put my money on them having the first Love is Blind baby.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Definitely.
For sure.
Do you guys plan on having like another ceremony, or do you want that to be your wedding?
Yeah, that's a good question. Do you want to take it or you want me to?
No, we definitely will be having another ceremony. Just because I always had envisioned my wedding to look a certain way. And while the reception that we had was stunning and beautiful, I just would like more of a Colleen and Matt touch. And a lot of our family and friends weren't able to make it. So
yeah, and I'd say the same thing, that our wedding was incredible. We loved it. We had a blast. It was so much fun. That being said, there were a lot of people that weren't able to come.
It was COVID.
It was a lot going on. So we do want to have another one. How big that is, I don't know.
Like a big one. Big one.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm sure that they're going to do more seasons of Love is Blind because it's so successful. What would you give? What advice would you give to, future contestants of the show?
It's the easy answer of don't be yourself, be true to who you are.
Yeah.
That's the easy answer. But I mean, that's the best thing that we could give to to upcoming seasons.
Yeah. And I'd kind of say stay calm, communicate, play the process out. It works. So just stay calm and talk.
Yeah.
For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.